Actually, nanotechnology is not standalone academic subject. Rather, it is a combination of different areas and academic subjects. For example, we need to understand biotechnology, chemistry, physics, chemical engineering, and materials science to develop nanoscale drug delivery capsule. When the drug delivery system can be reduced down to the nanoscale, say 500 nanometers, they can infiltrate directly into the cancer cells. However, it is difficult to prepare relevant biological materials with nano-engineered properties. For this, several different disciplines can help. To design sub-10 nanometer semiconductor, we need to use basic theory of quantum physics, information technology, electronics, and materials science. For example, to prevent crosstalk in the miniaturized circuit at 10 nanometers scale, it is important to develop low dielectric constant materials with good mechanical strength. For this, materials science can help. What about lightweight but mechanically strong metallic materials? It can be designed by cellular structures composed of nano-engineered materials such as carbon nanotubes. However, it is also important to design the mechanical strength and toughness using well-known materials mechanics principle and mechanical engineering. Therefore, it is always important for the students who want to use nanotechnology to remember that they need to start with basic and fundamental principles of science and engineering to research specific area of nanotechnology. Although nanotechnology is a combination of different areas, nanotechnology itself works for the development of advanced technology for various areas. For example, for information technology, nanotechnology can provide advanced nanomaterials and nanodevices to design miniaturized circuit. In recent years, we have witnessed the emergence of the first experimental quantum computers, which are basically assembly of nanoscale electronic devices with spintronics. For the advances in energy technology, nanomaterials and nanostructures can greatly contribute to design better and higher performance energy converting systems. In particular, as the climate crisis becomes severe, it is very critical to develop reliable and efficient renewable energies. For the renewable energies, it is important to produce and save electricity. For the generation of electricity, we can employ highly efficient solar cells such as silicon cell, perovskite cell, organic solar cell, and so on. For solar cell, different compositions with nanoscale structures can achieve highest photovoltaic efficiency. And at the interface between the metallic electron and electron transport layer can be enhanced for better charge carrier transport. For high-volume lithium-ion battery, which is very important to design lightweight and long-distance electric cars such as Tesla Model 3, it is important to make the optimized battery design with nanostructure membrane. For better understanding the lightweight but highly efficient battery, it is important to design the molecular structures and electronic structure of the cathode and anode materials. For this purpose, atomistic modeling based on computational physics such as density functional modeling, Monte Carlo simulation, molecular dynamics, and other numerical modeling for nanoscale materials can be applied. For the advances in biotechnology, nanosensors and nanodevices along with nanomaterials are important to enhance the guiding properties, sensitivity, detectivity, selectivity, transport properties, and so on. For example, for the drug delivery materials, nanoscale capsule with pH-selective surface can deliver drug materials to targeted positions such as the surface of cancer cell. For the case of bioengineered devices such as artificial retina, it is important to develop biocompatible nanomaterials such as nanoires and nanosheets which can detect visible light from the external source. For the transport of the obtained photons, it is important to develop biocomparable signal transmitters and waveguide. This can be designed by nanophotonics and optics. In recent years, there have been active researches in the development of wearable devices such as smart contact lens and smart fabric. For the wearability, it is important to develop nano-engineered materials which is flexible, durable, stable, rollable, foldable, and washable. For this purpose, nanotechnology-based approach such as nano-engineered surface coating, nanostructured cellular materials, nanoparticles dispersed fluids can be progressively used. Therefore, in nowadays, nanotechnology is a critical basis on which other technology can make progresses. In recent years, many companies have invested their resources into the development and applications of nanotechnology. For example, electronics companies such as Samsung, Intel, AMD, Apple, Toshiba, and so on have been interested in the applications of carbon nanotubes which can make nanoscale field effect transistor. Due to their angstrom-scale feature size, nanotube can be substantial candidate to scale down the microelectronics keeping the Moore's law. However, it is not too easy to develop the nanotube-based transistor at wafer scale. For lab-scale transistor, it is possible to develop high-capacity circuit on small area. However, for 12-inch wafer scale, the problem occurs due to limited precision of the placement and alignment of nanotubes. It should also be noted that nanotubes are not prepared on the regular basis such as lithography. This means that there would be some variations in the physical properties among the nanotubes. The carbon nanotubes can be metal, semiconductor, or insulator with different chirality, molecular structures, and fraction of defects. This has been a big obstacle for the company to develop the advanced angstrom-scale field effect transistor. Nanoscale luminescence materials such as quantum dots can work as display materials. Samsung developed quantum dot-based LED display panels few years ago. You can buy 65-inch quantum dot LED TV under $2,000 in the department store. Quantum dots can work as advanced imaging agent to selective exhibit the problematic tissue in the body. This makes global pharmaceutical companies to invest their resources into the development of quantum dot-based imaging technology. Nanoparticles can work directly kill the cancer cell with photothermal effects. In particular, metal nanoparticles such gold nanoparticles exhibit strong resonance with externally introduced electromagnetic waves. When the free electrons are strongly coupled with photons of the external electromagnetic wave, they behave like a pseudoparticle, and this particles-like behavior is called surface plasmon. If the particle size of gold nanoparticles is small enough, there can be strong near field around the gold nanoparticles. When shed by light source such as laser, gold nanoparticles dispersed in the cancer cell make high temperature sufficiently higher than body temperature, say 60 to 80 degrees Celsius. This high temperature can thermal degrade the cancer cell. Similar to gecko's toe, nanostructure surfaces with artificial setae can work as enhanced armor and functional globe for soldiers. You can imagine Spider-Man who can cling to the ceiling. Given enough stiffness by the gecko-like flexible soft nanowires bundle, it is indeed possible to create multi-sticking materials. Due to high aspect ratio of the nanostructured surface, it can be applied as water-repellent surface which can be applied for the development of self-cleaning surface. Let us explore further what specific application the nanotechnology have made. The first case is hydrogen fuel cell. A fuel cell is a device that converts the chemical energy from a fuel into electricity through a chemical reaction of positively charged hydrogen ions with oxygen or another oxidizing agent. Hydrogen fuel cells power the shuttle's electrical systems, producing a clean byproduct, pure water, which the crew drinks. A fuel cell combines hydrogen and oxygen to produce electricity, heat, and water. In the system, nanotechnology can provide advanced nanostructured catalyst and membrane for better energy production efficiency. Nanostructured membrane occupies minimal spaces but effectively separate reactants with stability. They also facilitate the transport of ions and making electricity at higher efficiency. I would also like to talk about nanosponges. The development of nucleoidal carrier called nanosponges has the potential to solve these problems. Nanosponge is a novel and emerging technology. It can precisely control the release rates of controlled drug delivery for tropical use. Nanosponges can work for targeted specific drug delivery. This technology offers entrapment of wide variety of ingredients and reduced side effects. They exhibited improved stability, increased elegance and enhanced formulation flexibility. The third case is reinforcement component. When a bullet strikes body armor, soldiers and police officers need reliable armors such as bulletproof vest. Kevlar fibers have been employed to make the vest, however, the cost of fabrication is relatively high. In replacement of the Kevlar fabrics, we can use carbon nanotubes. They can be fabricated in the form of fibers. And the fibers of these materials absorb and disperse the impact energy to successive layers to prevent the bullet from penetrating. Compared to the conventional heavy armor, carbon nanotube-based fabrics is much lighter but still stable and heavy-duty. The heavy-duty carbon nanotube would be the future construction materials for the development space elevators. In the form of fibers bundle, carbon nanotube can resist even gravitation force of the Earth. It is not easy to prepare the nearly perfect carbon nanotube fibers. Some of the part of the wires can be prepared by the nanotube bundles. Next, we can think about electrochromic camouflage. Metamaterials utilize nanophotonics which can manipulate light to make systems to be transparent. In particular, electrochromic camouflage can change colors instantly to blend in with the surroundings. This can be done by stimuli-responsive nanomaterials. Nanopaint currently developing by scientists to make invisible of missile, aircraft so it is difficult to detect. Let us think about chemical and biosensors. Nanotechnology incorporates capacitive readout cantilevers and electronics for signal analysis. Nanotechnology contributes to make high sensitivity enough to detect single chemical or biological molecule. In the perspective for healthcare industry, the advanced nanobiosensors can be widely applied for diagnostics, cancer treatment and targeted drug delivery. In recent days, we have witnessed fast spread of coronavirus worldwide. In order to prevent of the infection and slow down the spreading, it is important to develop reliable and fast test kit for the potential patients. Nanobiosensor can be one of the potential candidates for this purpose. CLET sub-10 nanometer particles can convert ultraviolet light into visible light with controlled brightness and color realization performances. Due to these advantages, recently, quantum dots have been widely employed for display materials such as CLET TV of Samsung. Nanolaser. Given sufficiently strong and short interval, laser light source at nanoscale can work as a miniaturized light source which focused photon on specific areas. This performance can be applied to stimulated specific part of brain as artificial neurotransmitter. For example, nanolaser would be able to transport single or couple of photons via neural network of human brain. It can be used in optogenetics, in which light source works as a tool to modify gene. The photons from the nanolaser can selectively modify desired part of the DNA or RNA, which can work with KIST gene editing tool. Nanolaser can also work for the quantum computer. When integrated with silicon photonics, nanolaser source such as quantum dots or semiconductor laser can provide reliable photon source for the optical computing modules such as waveguide, beam splitter, ring resonator, optical coupler, and so on. If the nanolaser is capable of controlling single photon, it will be compatible with futuristic quantum computing, which is based on information processing using spin and photon. Finally, let us talk about energy materials such as organic photovoltaics. Compared to the conventional silicon solar cells, organic solar cells are based on the combinations of donor and acceptor materials and their composite materials called bulk heterojunctions. Due to limited charge carrier transport parameters and mobility, charge trap density, and other defects, organic photovoltaic cells typically exhibit smaller energy conversion efficiency compared to silicon solar cells, say 10% efficiency. However, they have some notable advantages such as large area film casting processability, flexibility, lightweightness, and so on. The major problem with organic solar cell is not its small energy efficiency. Rather, it has relatively too short lifetime due to limited stability of the organic materials and their bulk heterojunctions. Nanotechnology can contribute to the enhancement of the lifetime of the organic photovoltaics. In particular, they can be used to design and control microstructure of the bulk heterojunctions to make the interface areas of the donors and acceptors large, while maintaining phase separation characteristics of the materials. Nanotechnology also make good effects in forming stabilized thin film structure on the electrode under high temperature. This can be done by surface engineering for the electrode and electron or hole transport to layer. However, nanotechnology should be strongly connected to manufacturing systems for further application. For example, lab-scale synthesis of nanoparticles is not able to meet the demand from the industry. This means that the synthetic route should be scaled up. It is also important to develop low-cost process to prepare nanostructures. This can be done by bottom-up approach, which will be covered by a next lecture. Unfortunately, many advanced nanotechnology items have been kicked out of the industry. This is mainly not because of a fact the suggested nano items were not adequate for the market, but because the nano items were not processed into nano intermediates. Once the nano items are turned into nano intermediates, they are ready to join the conventional manufacturing systems and value chain. Therefore, it is important for the nanotechnology researchers to earn some money to understand the conventional manufacturing system and their limitations. For example, if you realize your block copolymer self-assembly nano patterns into the sub-50 nanometer nano grading, you need to prepare the film at least over 4-inch wafer with industry level quality and uniformity. This is due mainly to the fact that the conventional manufacturing system is strictly under the international standards of products. Therefore, please investigate the industry convention, standards, process limitations, and capability before making a plan of turning your nanotechnology items into nano intermediates. Let us think about how we can make some connection between lab-scale nanomaterials to industry-level manufacturing. For example, let us start with carbon nanotubes. After successful reproduction of carbon nanotubes at lab scale, many companies have tried to mass product the nanotubes. For that, basic researches on the carbon nanotubes such as dispersion, patterned growth, composite materials, filtering, direct processing, surface modifications along with scaled-up synthetic route should be done. Based on the basic researches, relevant applications can be suggested to enhance or even replace conventional materials. For example, carbon nanotube dispersed thin film can be applied to make high-performance electromagnetic wave interference materials. For specific applications, carbon nanotube should be prepared in desired state. For the film casting process, it is advantageous to prepare nanotubes in liquid solution. For electronic materials, it is advantageous to prepare vertically grown nanotubes on pattern substrate. Using these tailor-made strategy, manufacturing process can be connected. When connected to manufacturing, nanotechnology will join the value chain. First, nanomaterials such as nanotubes and nanoparticles will work as basic building block. In this stage, academic research with fundamental study is driving the research. Throughout the decades-long research, valuable data concerning materials' properties, applicability, processability, connectivity, convergence are deposited as a form of research papers and patents. Based on the basic blocks, we can proceed to nano-intermediates such as coating, fabrics, composite materials, and so on. In this stage, two or more basic building blocks are combined to make better materials and cysts. For example, for superconducting wires, core and clad nanomaterials should be processes as a form of long wire. Using the concentric ring-like structure, charge carrier transport along the wire can be done with minimized electrical resistivity. Based on the intermediates, we can finally make values by producing commercialized products such as cars, clothing, airplanes, pharmaceutical, foods, computers, and so on. Actually, there is big value added between the nanomaterials and nano-intermediates rather between nano-intermediates and nano-enabled products. This indicate the core of the value chain of nanotechnology lies in the combination of nanomaterials and nanoprocessing. Please remember this stage if you have to start your company with your nanotechnology. You can earn the biggest money when you turn your basic nanomaterials or nanoprocessing into usable nano-intermediates. One of the interesting properties of the nanotechnology in the value chain is that the nanoscale tools such as imaging tools and spectroscopy can be used for any step in the value chain. For example, electron microscope is used to examine the physical properties of the nanoparticles. Simultaneously, it can be used to inspect defects of clothing with carbon nanotube fibers. Let's look at some market data on the nanotechnology-related products nation by nation. For many countries such as USA, Switzerland, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, electronics share the largest portion. Next, medicine follows. For South Korea, it is notable that cosmetics and home appliance share the second and third large portion. This is due mainly to the high growth rate of cosmetics and demand for the home electronics in South Korea. In China, Germany, Iran, and Russia, it is also notable that construction occupies top portions. Although not shown in this slide, we need to note that there is fast growth in nanotechnology-related medicine. In particular, nanomaterials and nano-devices with nanophotonics will be widely employed for advanced medical technologies in many developed countries as well as developing countries. There are vast amount of sales of nanotechnology-related products. For worldwide nanotechnology product market, it should be noted that sensors occupy the greatest portion. Construction materials follows. Biomedical or cosmetics also grow fast. For laser and solar cells, growth rate is relatively slow compared to other sectors. We wonder which specific materials are used to make nanotechnology product. Here is a graph for the components which are used for various kinds of products concerning nanotechnology. For many of the product, silver nanomaterials such as nanoparticles or nanowires have been intensively used. I believe that many of you have already heard about silver nanoparticle included merchandise such as washer or fabric. Silver nanowires have been recently employed for the stretchable and transparent electrode. Titanium dioxide has been used for cosmetics, textile, construction, and renewable energies. For cosmetic, it is used for the production of ultraviolet filtering agent. It can be used for white dye, catalyst. For renewable energies, it can be used for production of solar cell panels. Silicon dioxide is mainly used for semiconductor process. Due to its relatively low dielectric constant and visible light spectrum, silicon dioxide nanoparticles or microparticles are advantageous to accommodate long wavelength light such as infrared. For the nanotechnology to be connected to manufacturing system and value chain, we can select two routes. Computer chips can be made top-down, building something by starting with a larger component and carving away material like a sculpture or three-dimensional printing. The top-down approach strongly relies on pre-planned design, precision manufacturing, and multi-step procedure. This top-down approach has been actively employed in semiconductor industry, which pursues to scale down the nanopatterns down to sub-10, and even sub-2 nanometers. The problem with the top-down approach is the cost. Most of the top-down approach involves high-cost design and processing procedures such as e-beam lithography. There are 10 to 20 multi-steps to achieve nanostructures using the lithography. For example, to make sub-10 nanometer nanograding, substrate cleaning, photoresist deposition, MOX alignment, ultraviolet curing, etching of polymers, cleaning, deposition of metal film, lift-off process for photoresist, cleaning, drying, deposition of second patterning, and so on. For multi-level nanopatterns, the number of sequential procedure is very large. And the more the number of procedure, the higher the processing cost. Unfortunately, the e-beam and next-generation extreme ultraviolet lithography is much more highly expensive. As an alternative, scientists and engineers have developed a variety of bottom-up approach. This approach is like to build a house with bricks. For example, metal nanowires on the right electron microscope image are made bottom-up, building something by assembling smaller components, for example like building a car engine or Lego. For the most famous bottom-up approach at the molecular level would be DNA replications and RNA transcription. Due to the strong covalent bond among the two nucleobases, genetically encoded molecules such as DNA or RNA can make the identical or complementary strands of nucleotides. For bottom-up approach, molecular self-assembly and self-organization can be used. One of the examples of self-assembly at nanoscale is self-assembly of block copolymer thin film. This polymeric film is composed of two or more chemically different blocks which are bounded to each other at the end of the blocks. Due to entropic confinement and enthalpic repulsion, the free energy of the block copolymers can be minimized by means of ordered arrangement of the blocks. In some cases, these blocks form very regular and periodic ordered nanostructures with feature size of 20 or smaller nanomaterials. It is also possible to use some directed assembly or guided organization given prescribed chemical reaction or interaction. However, there exists limitations in the bottom-up approach. First of all, it is relatively difficult for bottom-up approach to develop highly precise and sub-10 nanometer scale nanostructures with desired materials. Secondly, it is limited to reduce defects in the course of the self-assembly and self-organization. Nowadays, many researchers designed ingenious ways of fabricating nanomaterials and nanodevices via bottom-up approach.